And the role of a parent in so many of that is to advocate. Like she spoke about that a lot, didn't she, in the early days?
It was a big takeout.
The anaesthetist,
And I loved that story. I had a laugh. I was like, oh my God, I could so see me doing that. And that the nurse remembered her. That's great.
Isn't it? I know, that just shows.
Welcome back to another episode of Therabites. Today it's just you and I, Dana.
It is. Just you and me again. It's nice. It's fun.
It's nice, yeah. And we are carrying on with the topic of family.
Love it.
Yes. And it was so perfectly started off last week with the amazing conversation that you had with Jen Pryor. Thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. Well, you did give me a list of questions to ask her, and I made sure they're all twined in there with my questions. So it was a bigger episode than usual, but there was so much there, right?
Yeah, thank you.
This is
you
why
both did so
you learn
great.
from people.
Yeah, it's just so good having people like Jen able to come in.
We've kind of done it.
Yeah.
When you're in the thick of it, it's really hard to see outside of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Having those reflections, so valuable.
It was really good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Yes.
Like, it's one of those things, I mean, you just said this morning you've listened to it 3 times.
I have.
And each time taken something out that was different. Yep. And I listened to it again as well, and I just thought there's just so much to pull out from here when we talk about family.
Yes, most definitely.
What a great way to intro it. So we're doing this in reverse. We thought, Jen did such a great job talking about family for her, and we thought we'd actually just talk more about family, what it actually means, draw from all the things she did say, and what we can actually put into practice.
Most definitely, And as always, we are going to start with your thoughts on the F word, just in case there was anything that was missed in. I don't know if there could have been, but if anything was missed in your conversation with Jen, do you want to tell us exactly what family means to you in the context of F words?
Of the F words.
A summary.
Yeah. Every time we have an F word, I would say, this one is so important. This one is my favorite one. And then I feel like I need to say that again for family. But it's true until you say the next one, I'll be like, that one's? Yeah, because it's the people you do life with. Yeah. And what we spoke a little bit about with Jen was that it's not always your blood relatives. It can be the people who are in your world that you trust, that do the journey with you. And family is just so integral within the context of the F words because it allows everyone to contextualize why they do what they do. Yeah. And how they do what they do. The why and the how and the when you think about all those really important words, tie into family, because the reason why you might do things is you want to enjoy a great life with your family. And when Emily, her daughter, was talking about what fun means, it means to live your best life, to enjoy. And you do that with people that you love. So whether they're your blood relatives or not, that you want to be able to do things with them. And that's often why you might do therapy, is so that you can bridge the gap from where you are now to where you want to be. When you want to do things is also dictated by family in a way. And to start off with, family may be dictated by the child a little bit because of their appointments and things they might need to go, but you need to contextualize the family, and how you do it also depends on the family as well. So I love family because it tells you how you're going to do it, why are you going to do it, when are you going to do it, and if you consider all those things, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed. We're all going to feel overwhelmed at some point, right? But you're less likely to, because you've just got reasons and you can just sit down and flesh it out. Like what Renee said back quite a few episodes ago when she's mapped out the F words, it was all really based around family.
Yeah, and friends and family that are friends.
That's right. Yeah, the two are completely intertwined.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even just, I just heard on the way in another perspective of how family is intertwined even with therapy. Just talking to a mum who was just saying, in the school, she's just been school holidays and her daughter was coming in with her son. And her daughter is so motivating for her son, and she gets so much more out of him. And so she was saying, out of everyone, it's her 8-year-old daughter coming in that motivates him, and how special that is, that she can be a part of that. I just thought, oh, that's so funny that we're about to go in and do a podcast on family and just another perspective of how that can be a part of that.
Yeah, because it's your family
it's not an
that knows you so well.
Yeah,
that's right. They know what motivates you and what really ticks you off as well, right? So his sister probably knew exactly what he needed in that moment. She could probably read his cues.
Yes.
Really well. And then we can learn from
language,
that. They
don't
really do.
Yep.
It's really cool. So yes, I think family was fantastic. How did you, before you ask me any more questions, I need to ask you some questions. What did you think as a parent listening to someone like Jen who had gone through the journey? Not that she's not still going through it, but it's the initial childhood stage. It's very different to when they're a young adult.
Yeah. I agreed with your comments around just her take on it so early was so, feels so advanced. Like just the way she was able to view it, process it and just get on with that. I loved that. I feel like that came a little bit later for me and with some assistance and some prompting and some educating that I was able to get there. And so I think that's just incredible to even just hear. It just reminds you that we all think so differently. Yeah. We all process feelings, emotions, information so differently. Yeah. And so that was really cool and really interesting to hear how she started and then how she was able to progress with that throughout Emily and Reese's journeys. Yes. Yeah, so that was also awesome to hear about that and how she really had to advocate for her second twin. Yeah, that's right. And the role of a parent in so many of that is to advocate. Like she spoke about that a lot, didn't she, in the early days? It was a big takeout.
The anaesthetist, and
I loved that story. I had a laugh. I was like, oh my God, I could so see me doing that. And that the nurse remembered her. That's great.
Isn't it? And that just shows that, you do know your child really well. I think I've spoken about this before where we often do say to parents, look, you're the expert on your child. You do know them really well. And what that is meant to mean is that you know your child's cues really well. Yeah. You know how to read your child better than anyone else does. Even if you think sometimes you're not. Sometimes you just feel a little bit defeated and things aren't going well.
Sometimes.
And that can be the case, but you're still parent. You're still the one that knows them really well. And that's why we as health professionals lean on you as family because I know I've spoken to you many times and you're like, oh, I can see that look in his eye. That means I'm like, I missed that. What look in his eye? Yep. And you've got it, right?
And so true.
And when you can do that, you can advocate for their voice if they don't have their voice yet. That means you're teaching everyone to understand how they communicate, and that's advocacy. Yes. Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Even just hearing that the other nurse remembered her, I think just is also that little reminder that you, even if one person in that room might not be on your side, you will have other people there that will have your back and that will help you with the advocating or remember you or, even take something from that. Like I'm sure that nurse, if it's resonated with her and stuck with her for that long, she probably took something from that and was able to help other families with advocating for their children from a lesson from that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And that's how we can shape services sometimes. Yes. That's how we can advocate for that too, and that's for the good of children. Yeah. So, that's a beautiful way to see it too. What did you think about, we spoke a little bit about timing therapy. Like in the early days, early intervention, we saw Em a lot. Like I was involved in her post-Botox therapy. And so I saw her for these little intensive blocks even back then. I wasn't involved in her everyday to-day care. Yeah. But she did have a lot of therapy in the early days. And then obviously as time went along, the importance of family helped dictate a little bit about when therapy was done. It was kind of like not negating the fact that therapy is really important for her to live the life that she is doing now. But it was the when. It was the when point. Yeah. What did you think about that, Kate?
Yes. Well, as you know, I'm definitely rethinking now that we're second year in school, rethinking school holidays, weekends, the more I'm learning. And so I definitely took a lot from that. And I think it reinforced what I'm thinking we want to do now, which we've talked about now, is freeing up some time in school holidays for my child just to go and play and have play dates. And whereas before I was like, okay, we'll do intensives in the school holidays, we'll go hard in school holidays and then he can have school just to, but then I've realised, oh, actually no, because in school, as Emily said, he's getting up, he's moving around, he's doing therapy. It might not be therapy, but he's doing therapy every day in school. Yeah. So holidays should be for fun, should be for holidays, going away, seeing friends. So that helped reinforce to me, no, these changes I'm making this year are for the best. And we're also now starting to do some after-school therapy And so that was also good hearing that that's when they started to prioritise that for Emily so that it wasn't taken away from school and she's not pulled out of class to go and do something. She's not missing out on things. Yeah. So that all really resonated with me, and it's nice. I think it's always nice to hear that someone else is thinking the same way as you.
For sure.
And especially when they're on the other side of it and that has worked for them, it was successful for them. So that was really nice to hear that for me.
And I like how you said that as well. It's about what it is for them, for each individual family. Yeah. It is just that, because the point, the when question of when you do therapy within the context of family is that when it works.
Yes.
You know, and for some people, they'll be listening and they'll go, well, that's the only time I have time to do therapy is during school holidays, because during the term, have you seen my term? It is hectic, but they need to focus on something during this period of time. Great. Yep. But you plan ahead for that, and then you make sure you have breaks then until the next one as well. So it's just the when question with regards to family can be carefully considered. And by, you know, not doing something sometimes and not having AFOs on all the time, it's going to be okay. Yep. I still remember that going, I'm not wearing my AFOs. I'm like, that's totally fine. I love
that. And just the consideration of the other kids, you know, just being so thoughtful from the get-go. I loved that. It wasn't, oh my gosh, we have to drop everything and our world is going to change because we have a child with a disability. It was, sorry, Emily, the world doesn't revolve around you. We have other children. Yeah. And I actually loved that. And, you know, not every family's going to think and feel like that. And I understand that. But for me, totally, I was like, yes, that's right. Like you have other children to prioritise, you have other children to raise, and same with school holidays. If she's in intensive therapy every school holidays, and that's same with me, my youngest will be out of daycare next year. So it's another thing we have to think about. He'll also be in school, and so intensive therapy is not going to be fun to have to drag him along to. So
and this is a good motivator.
Well, this is true. Yes. If he can stand there, cheer him on and get him to do all the things, then hey.
Yeah. And I think that's all the whole point about balance, you know, like obviously what we do here is intensive therapy, but the whole point of it is that you pick the times that it's going to work best for you.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it all the time. The whole point of intensive therapy is that you don't do it all the time. No one can keep up that, but you just do what you need to do to get that minimum dosage, to make that change, and then plan your life around it. You know, and then you can make sure the next school holidays you go on a break. You don't need this because you can do those stairs, like the story that she told. You know, now she can do the stairs because she's done a therapy and now she can do it in the next holidays. Yeah. Fantastic. The point is there's always a purpose. Yes. Isn't there?
And I've also thought, and we've discussed this, winter holidays, if we're going to do it, that's when we're going to do intensive therapy because you're stuck inside anyway. You need stuff to do. So that's a really good, he's up and moving about. We can't be running around at playgrounds and things like that. That's a really good block to do it. Yeah. And then use summer holidays for going away on holidays, having fun. You know, for me, for our family, that's what's going to work. So all of these considerations that you're also thinking about that, we plan family holidays first, family needs first, and then the therapy. We're now figuring it all out, how to fit it all in and have all the considerations instead of just how often can we do therapy? Let's do it. So we've gone from 4 intensives a year, which is what we were doing, to now we've learned we're going to do 2. Yeah, good. And that still gives so much time for school.
That's good.
He's still getting the dosage that he needs. We're still seeing fantastic outcomes. We've just finished an intensive and it was absolutely amazing. But I'm not putting that pressure on myself to make 4 happen, plus school, plus out of school, plus trying to fit in family things. Like, the balance is coming.
It's good. and it takes time to get to that place as well, because it's important sometimes what you get out of being in a setting where you've got other health professionals around is that you get information and you can learn. Yes. You know, you can ask questions, you can see what other people are doing, you can make friends yourself as a parent. So there are lots of other considerations, but in your mind, you should also be thinking about, am I doing the right kind of therapy to make the biggest difference that allows my child to live their fun, happy life, that they can do what they want to do, and then over time, you don't need to do as much of it. And look, we're a therapy provider, and I'm still saying that because it's true. The idea of doing it all the time doesn't make sense. And if you do the right kind of therapy, the results are meant to last. Yes. They don't just end the day you finish therapy. Yeah. You know, we've got definite results and it's all been published, where it can last for 6 months. Fantastic. Leave it.
Yep.
You
Or
know,
longer.
and you don't need because they're still doing it every day.
Exactly.
They've learned how to do it. They're practicing it. So next time you're doing something different. Yeah, exactly. You're not rehashing the same thing. So it is important. And I love how when you start thinking about mapping out your year with that family context, the why do you need to be able to do this skill, the how you're going to do it, and then the when.
Yes.
It all comes together. And I think if you can do that, those 3 words of guilt, comparison, and balance, you can stand really strong and say, look, I've done the best I can for my family, for my child. I don't have to feel guilty about it because I've planned it out. Our family is good.
Yes, exactly. And that was really great to hear Jen talking about, because that is so relative, the pressure and the comparison, especially now with social media and the way it
happens anyway.
And you don't get the context of that family. People share the best parts and they can create this narrative that isn't realistic. And we have to remember that when we are comparing. And I think that is really important. And it is just good to step back and be like, that's great if they are doing all of that. I would be so stressed doing that. My family would be impacted. That's not right for us. And just reminding ourselves of that.
And that's why you should be picky.
Yes.
You should be picky about what kind of therapy you do. And yes, I'm going to say it, I'm a researcher. We're an evidence-based therapy provider because we truly believe if you follow the science that has shown benefit, that's the best we've got. We're going to use that. Why would I spend time doing something where you don't know? If you do lots and lots and lots of it, but it hasn't got the right ingredients for the child to actually learn the skill, it doesn't matter how much you do, you're not going to get the benefit. And then the balance is off, the guilt is there, the like you're just doing lots and lots and lots because you're not quite getting where you need to be. So it all comes back down to that. So for the sake of family, you got to be picky.
Yep, you do. And we're just, so blessed, so lucky that we found the importance of research and that we found research-based therapy so early in our journey. Because we have seen the payoff. And we're now in a position where we can take that pressure off and take that stress off.
And it's important too because no one can sustain that. No one can sustain that level of intensity, for a family.
The kids. Like I know we just finished an intensive and the last week, oh my gosh, it was a struggle. They get tired. They're working so hard. Their brains are working so hard. Again, like it's all just these realizations. Their bodies are working hard, but my gosh, his brain.
Learned it, rest. Put it into practice. Doesn't need to see us for a while. That is great. That is actually a really good outcome. So hopefully that's helpful for people to map it out. Whatever it is for your life, whatever it is for your season of life as well, take a look at your calendar year, map it out and go, look, this year I want to do this and this. I want to go here. I definitely want to fit in therapy here and here because I want to work on these goals so we can do this. And when you map that out, it is hopefully then realistic for you and achievable. And your family will help tell you what that is.
And take some pressure off yourself by doing that, hopefully.
That's right. Yep. Nice. I'm glad there was lots of take home for you.
I could have talked for another half an hour. It was great.
I could have talked to Jen for heaps longer as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow.
It's probably a good thing I wasn't here that day. I think it would have been like a 3-part episode.
It's a potential. I could see how that would be the case. But this just shows how we can learn from each other. We don't have to reinvent the wheel each time.
And I think there's a learning there for everyone.
That's right.
My child presents very differently to Emily. So there's some parts that aren't relevant to us that weren't takeaways for us, but so many other things
totally and
things you can learn and apply based on your situation.
That's right.
So it was great. Thank you.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that as well. Hopefully, you can take some time to look at your year and plan it out and value both, but value it within the context of family and looking after well-being.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We'll talk to you all again really soon. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.